Hello and welcome to this edition of Wolves Weekly. Joining me today, in the middle of their championship season right now, we have head men's and women's track and field coach, and cross country coach for that matter, Coach Johnson. How are you doing today?
Pretty well. How are you?
Pretty good. You're getting a little bit better weather out there. We got some great weather out there for the GNAC Championships.
It seems like the only weather we can get is for the GNAC Championships, and actually we hosted the the state 1A, 2A, 3A high school championships here this weekend. The weather was great for that as well. But weather, we'll run in it, throw in it, jump in it, no matter what it is.
You're fantastic. And it does seem, I want to start with the GNAC, I want to talk about the GNAC Championships, but just one quick thing on the state track championship meet. Seems like you guys have a great atmosphere, and your track and field athletes work really hard to make it a great thing. And so I just want to say thank you to them, because it's the atmosphere that goes on, and it's not always just about the competition that goes on the track or the field,
sure,
or the throw pits, but it's that you bring people into Western Oregon and you bring people into Monmouth, and 2,000 people probably descend on this place and make a great atmosphere around here.
Well, actually, it's closer to 3, and the atmosphere is great. But a large part of that is due to the fact that the athletes make the meet, that our athletes make the meet for the small school athletes, and they really try to make it entertaining for them, make it run well. So it's the best meet they've ever been in.
Fantastic. And I want to talk about that same one too. Talk about the bond of those athletes. They were working very hard the week right before that one at the GNAC Track Championships. It was a pretty interesting team. Sure. I'd like to talk about the teams there, and very good success for the teams there.
Well, they are successful. We won the men's championship. The women were third. I thought the important part of that was that everybody competed. If you really were looking at what the athletes were doing, you saw the intensity, you saw the passion, you saw the purpose with which they were competing. And that was just fantastic. They did a great job.
And you don't want to always talk about individuals, because the men's team ended up taking first. They were second place after day one, but ended up getting first place with 203 points. And that's not one or two high individuals getting to get 203 points. You have to have a team effort to get those ones.
We placed in every event save one for the men, and that is unusual in a championship meet in itself, but I think speaks large volumes to the balance that this team has, and the fact that everybody contributes. And the women's team was more successful in the track and in the jumps, and yet we have people like Amanda Shoemaker, who's off to the national championship, who's one of the better throwers. I think she's ranked 5th going into that meet nationally. And she was very successful, as were a couple of our other javelin throwers, men and women both. And obviously you look at Jason Slowey, who had 24 points in the championships individually, winning the shot, third in the hammer, second in the discus. And we had a lot of those kind of contributions. And then Elric Berkman, who barely got into the meet, and he was, we just got in late, and there he was placing in the high jump. Yep. And each one of those people, regardless of who they are, whether it's, Appleby or Reed, or for the men or the women, everybody was contributing. Even in some ways, the people that didn't place, because of the things they did to contribute to the success of the others.
I want to talk to you one thing about, you always talk about this in the strategy of track meets, and how point swings can be a big differential. It's not always about you getting maybe second place, but it's also that you have maybe that 4-point swing because you stop somebody else from doing it.
Sure.
And so I'd like to talk a little bit. You have a couple conference champions in that one. You talked about Jason Slowey. We also have Matt Kano in the 400, Kyle Larson the 800, Brett Campbell, freshman, in the 110-meter hurdles. But Will Crook and Cody Rivas in the javelin,
sure,
may have been kind of one of those turning points of the whole thing.
It was late in the meet, and the men's javelin was late in the meet. And I think frequently we see that in athletics, the things that are at the end of the game, the fourth quarter, the last innings, the final events, are the ones that take great, because everybody says they're under a lot of pressure. Well, they all are, but the people are under a lot of pressure in track and field in the third exchange in the 4x1 it goes along the way. I think everybody expected Will to be able to contend for the championship, and he did a nice job. And the nice part was to be able to see Cody come in and take second place And Cody kind of exemplifies those places where we stepped up to be successful and exceeded others' expectations, but not necessarily their own.
Fair enough. I just thought that was a pretty interesting one, and congratulations to both the men's javelin throwers, and actually really the whole men's team, but also the women's team. They showed a lot of heart in this one too. You talked about them making the jump up, getting 3rd place in it, but coming from 6th place down. It was 6th place after day 1. I know you would never say down, but it's one that a lot of people contributed in that one too. And
well, so many of our points came in the sprints, hurdles, jumps, the second day events, where they were in the prelims, so we knew we were going to be in good shape. And they'd gotten through the prelims, we knew we were going to be in pretty good shape at the finals. But when you look at the quality of competition in the conference, there's little room for error. And so this was not just a case of what we did, but also a case of what we didn't do. And we didn't make a lot of mistakes. And people really were very consistent throughout the day and very supportive of each other.
Fantastic. I just want to make that same note too. The relay teams were very fun to watch run on those ones. You had some relay teams, especially the women's 4x100 meter team. They maybe didn't have the best exchange, but man, you got some women out there that
we had great exchanges on 2 and 3, and the interesting part there is Caitlin Reed was substituted in without an exchange, but she's just such a good athlete that she was able to make good exchanges, and the athletes all know each other pretty well. But there was an odd thing on the first exchange in the women where an athlete from one of the other schools actually lined up in the lane and obstructed the running line for us, and kind of made it an odd event for other teams as well. But we got through that, and we did well.
Well, me being a stat person here, sports information, it's always the way it goes. I have to say, I took a little notice there that this is an unofficial thing, but the Western Oregon men's and women's teams combined for the most points at the track and field championships. I know that doesn't really count for anything else there, but at the same time, it's nice to see that you guys have a lot of team depth, which is what you've talked about before.
That's kind of the fantasy trophy. But year in and year out, we try to have balanced programs across the event areas and between the men and the women, and not just take all our resources and load up in one place. That's certainly, we have areas in the team that are stronger, that are better numbered than other areas, but we're not going to be successful unless we can cover those places where everybody thinks, well, they don't have anybody there. But they look at the scores at the end of the day. You're the stat guy, and there they are. They're 2nd, 3rd, sometimes 1st. And I guess they do have those people.
And you actually see that go on with these next 6 that we have going to national championships. This weekend, you actually have, once again, variety of races there. I'd just like to read those ones really quick. Returning as an All-American, you have Amanda Shoemaker going in the javelin, Ashley Potter in the triple jump, Anna Appleby 800, Will Crook for the men over in the javelin, Chris Reed as well, 10K, and then you have Connor Castler 800. Once again, that's a wide variety. You have a couple 800 runners, but you have mid-distance, distance, throws, and jumps.
Yeah, I think we have all that, and one of our goals now is to get our relays into the national meet, and that'll be one of our future goals, because we figure that we have this good depth. We have a variety of people, and if we get in, we should be able to take more people by having relays qualify. Yeah, I think that's our next goal. Make everybody better, of course, but keep it as a team sport.
And you got to see that one. A lot of guys that gave it up. So you gave up a little bit of their individual glory for that team aspect in the indoor season, which is very nice to see. As 4 men were able to take home All-American trophies, and it's just as well. I'm sure that they're just as proud as that team aspect of the relays they would be as any individual one possibly.
I think so. I would agree with you.
And I'd like to talk about that one, the coaching staff, a little bit. I'd like to send congratulations to Isaac Frederick. He's actually been named the USTF CCCA West Region Men's Assistant Coach of the Year. Isaac has put in a lot of work for this program, not just this season, but these last couple of years and many years before that, when he was also a student athlete here at Western Oregon. And so this is nice to see a little bit of recognition go to Isaac Frederick, who I'm sure would like the team aspect more than anything else, but at the same time, it's nice to see an individual get recognized for his hard work.
Yeah, well, he's certainly deserving. I mean, it's actually, and what people don't see, they see the events that he coaches, It's what he does outside of just those things that really add to the program and the organization and the purpose and the recruiting and all the other things that go into being a successful coach. Those are the things he does. And I'm waiting for Danny here to be able to tell me what USTFCCCA stands for, but
I can do that. You're usually not allowed to write an acronym on the paper, first of all, but it's United States Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Association. I believe I got it all in there. I may have missed one.
Danny, you passed the test.
Fair enough. Thank you, Coach.
You missed an and, but other than that, that's not included in that part. So you're clean.
Thank you very much. And one more congratulations before we get to sign off, and before we'll have to catch you another time, Coach. We also had four women and 9 men earn all region honors. It's finishing in the top 5 in the West region in their certain event. Once again, this is not a team thing, but we were able to see these individuals really excel and show how quality performers they are in the West region, the hard work that they put in. So it's nice to see an individual get recognized for all the hard work that they put in.
You know, what's remarkable is you can be a national qualifier out of the GNAC and not make that list. Which is,
yeah.
You know, I mean, that's pretty hard to do, but I mean, that's how competitive the conference has gotten. As we ended the season, both teams were in the top 10 in the region in terms of team rankings. The men were ranked 2nd.
Yes.
And those people that are all region and the rest of the folks are what make up that ranking. So we're good.
Well, just want to read those names really quick so that they get their credibility
Sure.
really quick. On the women's side, we have Annan Appleby, Ashley Potter, Janelle Everett, and Amanda Shoemaker. On the men's side, Chris Reed actually takes home the honor, the all-region honor 3 times, and Jason Slowey twice. We also have Ryan Chapman, Will Crook, Matt Kano, Tim Lundy, Brandon Snook, Jordan Werner, and Connor Kassler. So I'd just like to say congratulations to those individuals for all the hard work that they put in on the track and for this Western Oregon track and field team. And Coach, I just want to say thank you for joining me today on this edition of Wolves Weekly. Thank you all for watching.